How's it going, all my awesome peeps? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to react to a channel called The Critical Drinker. Episode is called Why This is the Greatest Lord of the Rings Scene Ever. I've seen a few other Critical Drinker. He is pretty freaking hilarious. He does like a lot of videos about like Disney, movie stars, you name it, all those. He is funny. I love it, especially when he starts talking about Disney stuff. Oh, it's the best. it's freaking hilarious. This one I haven't seen yet, and him talking about like the best scene of Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, one of my favorite freaking movies. The second one's my favorite. I love the Two Towers. That whole fight in Helm's Deep is my absolute like favorite fight in like the whole franchise. Even though the fight from like the third film, Return of the King, that one is epic too, but for some reason like Helm's Deep just like holds like a special place in my heart. That whole fight was just absolutely phenomenal. The best. Me and the hubby always fight over it. It's either Helm's Deep or like the fight from the third movie, but to me I always go back to Helm's Deep. I love that fight. Just like that whole movie, just all three of the movies, they're just phenomenal. You know, the acting, the music, especially the music. I love the music in Lord of the Rings. It's so good. I would say, because like Star Wars is like my top, and I would say like Lord of the Rings is like almost right there. You know, such a good franchise. I love it. I mean, who doesn't love Lord of the Rings? Come on. Are you all ready? Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate it so much. And let's get straight to the video.
Ever have a movie experience so epic that you just know you're never going to see anything quite like it again? Like you'll never quite reach that same emotional high you felt in that special moment? Well, probably not so much in recent years, but by golly, there was once a time when going to a movie theater meant a chance to experience pure magic and wonder on the biggest screen imaginable. And I don't think any movies captured that feeling quite like The Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's magnum opus, the epic trilogy to end all trilogies, the apex of big-budget Hollywood filmmaking, balanced out by mature storytelling and an abiding respect for the source material instead of some narcissistic filmmaker determined to put their own stamp on it. Films that would be literally impossible to make at any other time before or since. And because the trilogy is getting its 25th anniversary re-release, oh my god, I'm old.
Just him saying that, now it's like 25 years, oh my god, now it's making me feel old. Holy crap, it came out that long ago? Oh my god. But yes, Lord of the Rings is, oh my god, it's so good. That fight in Helm's Deep is like one of my favorite parts in like the whole franchise. That fight is badass.
Social media and sharing some of their favorite moments and scenes that have stuck with them for the past quarter of a century. And well, I felt like it's damn well time I chimed in with mine, because it's all too easy to spend your days bitching and moaning about the state of modern entertainment here on YouTube. Rightly so in most cases, but it's also nice to be reminded once in a while that yes, movies and TV shows can conjure up some pretty fucking incredible experiences.
Hell yeah, they can.
This right here is mine.
Yes, let's go.
This may be one of the greatest and most epic scenes, not just in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not just in fantasy, but in all of cinema. It is
so
fucking
good.
Perfection. The build-up, the stakes, the character moments, the choreography, the soundtrack, the culmination of every story.
The soundtrack is great.
And decision that's been woven throughout the whole movie. This is payoff on the grandest scale imaginable, and watching this moment unfold in a cinema screen 24 years ago was an experience that'll stay with me for the rest of my life. And so
that's how I feel with like when I saw like when they re-released Star Wars back in the 90s. That's how I felt too. Like seeing the original Star Wars on the big screen was just effing epic. I love that. All of like the Star Wars, even like the prequels to me, oh, fabulous. And just like Lord of the Rings, they don't make movies like they used to, let me tell you.
I want to try to explain why I think it works so well, because a great scene is more than just what happens in that one moment. It's everything that led up to it, everyone involved in it, everything it means for the wider story. So, let us explore it together, shall we? First, the setup. The scene takes place at the culmination of the Battle of Helm's Deep at the end of the Two Towers, which, by the way, is my favourite battle of the trilogy.
Hell yes!
Another day. Anyway, the forces of Rohan, led by King Theoden, are under siege by an army of Uruk-hai sent by Saruman to wipe them out. With most of their horsemen dispersed across the country, Theoden has no choice but to lead his depleted forces to the fortress of Helm's Deep, which should at least give them a fighting chance against the vastly superior army. As Aragorn and the others head to the refuge, Gandalf leaves in search of Eomer, who led most of his men away after being dismissed by Wormtongue. It's established very clearly that Theoden and his men are completely outclassed in this battle. Their army consists mostly of old men and boys conscripted into service, hastily armed with ancient weapons and dented armour. Relics of past wars barely fit for purpose now. They know there's no real hope of victory. All they can really do is hold out as long as possible and hope that Gandalf can get to them in time. On the other hand, there's the army of Uruk-hai. Massive, powerful, overwhelming in number, and composed of the biggest, strongest, and most fearless orcs the world has ever seen. An enemy that burns and destroys everything in its path, that doesn't care about casualties and absolutely won't stop until it achieves its mission. This isn't an army of invasion or conquest, it's an army of annihilation. If Helm's Deep falls, Rohan will die. As far as stakes go, it doesn't get much higher than that. Secondly, the characters. Theoden is a man with the weight of the world resting on his shoulders, an old king in his twilight years whose mind was slowly poisoned by his chief advisor, who allowed his kingdom to fall into decline and his armies to fade away, whose own son was killed in the fighting without him even knowing about it.
That's
a man
so
who was
sad.
saved by Gandalf, who wakes up at last only to find his country under siege and the fate of his people balanced on a knife edge. He knows that his time is almost up, that this might be his last battle, but he's determined to go down fighting.
Hell yeah!
Is Aragorn, a man who struggled to lead the Fellowship ever since Gandalf fell in Moria, whose every decision seems to have led to disaster, and who barely even made it here himself. Just as this could be Theoden's last battle, it's also Aragorn's first. He's never led an army into battle before, he's never commanded troops or issued orders, but even he knows that their position is almost hopeless. Again though, just like Theoden, he's resolved to fight until the bitter end.
Then I shall die as one of them.
Thirdly, there's the battle itself. The
Yes!
Uruk-hai throw themselves against the fortress like a wave. This isn't a carefully coordinated assault with precise maneuvering and tactical deployments. It is a brute force sledgehammer attack that relies on two things: overwhelming power and sheer weight of numbers. J.R.R. Tolkien lived through the horrors of the First World War, and he saw for himself the human wave attacks that sacrificed hundreds of thousands of lives to gain a few miles of territory, and this battle is a perfect reflection of that. Bit by bit, the exhausted and wounded defenders are forced back into the citadel. The orcs have taken thousands of casualties by this point, but it doesn't matter to them. They don't care about losses, all they care about is victory, and it's almost in their grasp.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
This is an enemy the likes of which Theoden and his people have never faced before. An army that will not stop, that can't be daunted and won't show them any mercy. A relentless machine of war that even human courage can't stand against. With all hope seemingly lost, Aragorn suggests one last suicidal charge, trying to buy time for the women and children to escape, knowing they won't make it far but determined to try anyway.
Ride out and meet them. For death and glory. For Rohan.
God, the music's so freaking good.
Theoden's speech at the Battle of the Pelennor Fields is the best one of the trilogy, but
that's a good speech.
This one right here.
Awake.
Now for wrath. And the Red Dawn.
Let's go!
Heroic, it doesn't inspire thoughts of victory. It's the last words of a man facing the end, knowing there'll be no one left to sing songs about him when it's all over. A man whose only goal now is to fight and die. And fight they do, their charge carrying them all the way down the causeway into the very heart of the enemy army, where they're sure to be overwhelmed and wiped out in a matter of seconds. That's when it finally happens. The thing Aragorn had pinned all his hopes on. The thing we as the audience had all but forgotten about in the chaos and disasters of the battle.
Yeah, when you saw him, I was like, oh my god. Let's go.
Yeah. And So we come down to it at last. Gandalf arriving at the last moment to save the day with the sun rising behind him. Eomer and his men riding to the aid of their king, and between them an army of orcs, battered and depleted after a whole night of bloody carnage, but still very much in the fight and determined to win at any cost. Even now, the situation seems hopeless. The music you're hearing in this moment isn't triumphant, it's tragic. It's preparing you for a brave but futile last stand. The riders of Rohan seem to be charging straight into a wall of spears, hurling themselves towards certain death. Horses, swords, and human courage thrown helplessly against a machine of war. And I say machine because that's exactly what they're up against. Pay attention to the Uruk-hai here, the way they march in lockstep, their brutal industrial looking armor, the sound their boots make as they trample the ground. That is the sound of machinery right there, and it fits in perfectly with the experiences Tolkien drew from when he wrote these scenes. World War I was the first truly industrialized war, the first war of mass production, where machinery and technology was more powerful than human courage. It left him with a deep mistrust of technology and industry and the destruction of nature and tradition, and you can see that woven throughout his writing, and it's perfectly encapsulated in this scene right here. And at the last second, when the two armies are about to clash, it turns out that nature itself lends a helping hand.
Yeah,
again, people
blinded the crap out of
the
them.
Rohirrim in Return of the King as their greatest
That's a good
moment
fight too.
in the trilogy, but for me, it's this. This
Same.
scene takes you on the kind of emotional roller coaster that few other movies have ever been able to match. Even watching it and describing it right here brings a lump to my throat because it's that fucking good. In a trilogy bursting at the seams with poignant, epic, awe-inspiring moments, this for me is the greatest one of them all. Even now, a quarter of a century later, this scene still gets to me. And I'm very grateful I got to see it when it happens.
Same.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.